Hey amazing parents, it's Dr. Lindsay here with this week's psychology-based parenting tips about how to look at how you and your partner divvy up your household chore duties and the impact that that can have on both your marital relationship and your overall family dynamic. So typically I focus on the parent-child dynamic in these episodes, but there's no denying that the parent-parent dynamic is essential to a harmonious family environment and the resulting parent-child dynamics. So as we embark upon the new year, it's an opportune time for couples to reflect on their family dynamics and make positive changes. One area that often warrants attention is the distribution of household chores, and there are some particularly interesting psychology research findings that apply to this topic of spousal chore distribution. So in this episode, we're going to explore the importance of addressing chore distribution between spouses, the benefits of holding a family meeting to discuss the topic, and the significance of involving children in the conversation. So by utilizing effective communication strategies and considering relevant psychology findings, we can set our families up for success in the new year. Now, of note, this topic is relevant to both stay-at-home and working moms and dads. It can enhance family relationships and promote a healthier work-life balance, whether you're talking about balancing the work that you do caring for your children or the work that you do outside of the home. We're going to break this topic down into 3 sections today: distribution of chores between spouses, using family meetings to improve the situation, and the positive effects you can expect to see. So stay tuned to the end, where I'll tell you more about a free resource to guide you through the process of holding a successful family meeting. You can grab your copy at parentingwithpsychology.com/meeting, and I'll pop that link in the description below this video to help you grab that valuable resource. Okay, so we'll start out with a discussion of the distribution of household chores between husbands and wives. Let's touch briefly on a review of psychology research before we dive into these actionable tips to resolve any potentially damaging issues in your family related to perception of chores equity between you and your partner. So most of this research has been done on male-female married couples, so I'll refer to spouses herein throughout the tips that I recommend, but they're not limited to this population and can be adapted to same-sex or non-married couples. Now, there's a whole women's liberation element to this discussion, with studies showing that women perform far greater proportions of household tasks compared to their husbands, often approaching a 2-to-1 ratio. These findings are consistent across a wide range of cultural contexts. That goes for households where the wife earns more money than her husband, and even in households where the husband is not employed. That's a much larger discussion. Today, I want to focus on spouses' perceptions of the division of household labor and an interesting psychological phenomena on that topic. So if you ask a couple what percentage of household chores they each do, you'll receive answers like 50% and 65% from one couple, or 70% and 60% from another couple. What's strange about these numbers? They add up to more than 100% per couple. Studies have shown that both husbands and wives over-report their contribution to housework while underestimating their partner's contributions. You can refer to a study by Preston Towsley from 1998 for those findings. But if you take the 2-to-1 ratio mentioned previously into consideration, it's clear that men are even more prone to overestimating their contribution to the household chores. Even though men are doing more household chores than ever these days, their perceptions of how much they're helping out around the house still tend to be way off. Why does this matter? These perceptions of inequity in household chores can have a significant impact on relationship satisfaction and stability. Notably, mismatch in couples' housework reports is related to the risk of divorce. In relationships where the husband reports equal sharing of household chores, yet the wife reports doing more, we see the lowest relationship quality and the highest rates of separation. Those findings are from Ruppiner et al. In 2017. In contrast, this study found that the best relationship satisfaction comes from relationships where men credit their wives by acknowledging their extra contribution to the housework. So this means that though husbands can take on more chores and to be helpful, simply acknowledging their wives more for taking on the extra chores can also be beneficial to the relationship. Of course, there are a number of other factors contributing to divorce, but this is one that is remarkable and relatively easy to remedy. An important thing to note when talking about chores distribution amongst couples is that a 50-50 split is not always the ideal goal. It's the perception of fairness that is a strong predictor of relationship quality, not perceived equity. Those findings come from Gillespie et al. In 2019. For example, let's say that I do all the laundry, the cleaning, and the grocery shopping, while my husband takes out the trash and unclogs any stopped up drains. That's not an equal distribution of tasks, but I really don't like taking out the trash and managing plumbing issues, so that may seem like a fair arrangement to me. Now, take a moment to think about the chores distribution in your relationship. I encourage you to pause listening, get out a piece of paper, and write down a list of chores that you do and a list of chores that your spouse does. Then go back through that list and star any of those that seem the most taxing, the ones that you really don't like doing. Lastly, take a moment to think about your schedule and your partner's schedule at this point in time and consider how much time each of you has to allocate to chores around the house during a regular week. So go ahead and pause the video here, answer those questions, and then pop back on and I'll have a follow-up activity for you. Okay, now ask yourself the following questions. Does the distribution of chores look equal, about 50-50 per spouse? If not, does it look fair, taking into consideration which chores are starred, meaning the ones that are the least desirable, and therefore maybe it's okay to have fewer on that side of the list? Does it look fair, taking into consideration your schedule and your partner's schedule, and what are feasible contributions for you both to make? If the chores distribution doesn't look fair, is that a temporary situation? For example, while your husband's juggling a really busy period at work? If it doesn't look fair and it's not temporary, are you okay with that? I'd love to hear from you in the comments about how household chores are divvied up in your family and what you learned from this activity. Let's move on to the next section, talking about the power of holding a family meeting. So having completed the exercise above, you should now have a better idea of whether the chores distribution is fair in your household and whether you're comfortable with the current setup. It may be that you do far more of the household chores, and you're okay with that because you know that your partner is working hard and doesn't have the time in their schedule to contribute more. Or it may be that you feel overburdened and could use some more support, maybe even just offloading one chore from your weekly to-do list. One effective way to address this distribution of household chores is by holding a family meeting. So this meeting provides an opportunity for family members to come together and discuss their roles and responsibilities and make any necessary changes. During the family meeting, it's important to create a safe and open space for discussion. Each person should feel like their voice is heard and respected. Set a clear and focused agenda on the topic of chores distribution. By establishing ground rules such as active listening and respectful communication, you can foster an environment that encourages open dialogue and problem solving. Now, when discussing chore distribution, it's essential to involve the children in the conversation. During the family meeting, give the children a chance to express their preferences and interests, assign age-appropriate tasks that align with their abilities to encourage them to take ownership of their responsibilities. This not only teaches them valuable life skills, but also empowers them to take responsibility for their contribution to the family unit. By including them in the decision-making process, they feel heard and valued, fostering a sense of ownership and commitment to their assigned tasks. To help families host positive and productive family meetings, I created a free downloadable resource called How to Hold a Successful Family Meeting. This comprehensive guide provides ground rules, scheduling tips, and communication strategies to ensure a successful discussion. So be sure to download your free copy today at parentingwithpsychology.com/meeting. Now let's touch on the positive effects of family chore redistribution. So first, strengthening the marital relationship. Addressing chores distribution allows couples to have open and honest conversations about their expectations, their needs, and their limitations. By working together to create a fair division of labor, couples can reduce feelings of resentment and foster a stronger sense of teamwork and support. This collaborative effort strengthens the marital bond and promotes a more successful partnership. Second, promoting work-life balance. For working parents, finding a balance between professional and family responsibilities can be challenging. By redistributing chores and involving all the family members, parents can alleviate some of the burdens and create more time for quality family interactions. This balance not only benefits the parents, but also the children with attention and support that they need for healthy development. Third, fostering the parent-child relationship. So involving children in the chores allocation process empowers them to contribute to the family's well-being. It teaches them valuable life skills such as responsibility, accountability, and time management. And by assigning age-appropriate tasks and providing positive reinforcement, parents can nurture a sense of pride and accomplishment in their children. This shared responsibility also fosters a deeper connection between parents and children as they work together towards a common goal. Okay, it's time for the take-home message for this episode. In many households, the distribution of household chores often falls along traditional gender lines. However, it's essential to recognize that this division may not always be equitable or fair, and that the perception of inequity plays an important role in relationship satisfaction and staying power. Research has shown that women tend to take on a large share of household responsibilities, even when they're also working outside the home. This imbalance can lead to feelings of resentment, stress, and strain on the marital relationship. By being aware of interesting psychology findings, such as the misperception of household chore allocation, we can navigate the challenges of complex family relationships more successfully and create a thriving family environment in the year ahead. It's crucial for couples to have open and honest conversations about their expectations, their needs, and their limitations when it comes to household chores. Remember to involve the children in the process by openly discussing and addressing chore allocation. This way, couples can strengthen their marital relationship, foster a sense of responsibility in their children, and promote a healthy work-life balance. Family meetings focused on effective and fair chore distribution strengthen the family relationship. So let this new year be a fresh start for your household, where everyone feels heard, valued, and actively participates in maintaining a balanced family life. Schedule your next family meeting to discuss chore allocation this week. Holding family meetings to discuss chore allocation is part of the Check Yourself category in my 5 C's parenting framework. If you're new to the 5 C's, look in the description below this video to find more parenting resources, including a video about the 5 C's parenting framework and a link to sign up for my weekly newsletter to be sure that you never miss any of my new tips. Okay, amazing parents, that wraps up today's episode. Thanks for joining me to fill your parenting toolbox with psychology-based tools to feel more confident and capable in your parenting. If you found this video helpful, I invite you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more parenting with psychology tips. Join me next week to learn how to teach your child not to hit using the 5 C's. In the meantime, check out my free resources listed below in the description and keep up the good work on your amazing parenting journey. Oh, and if you'd like to see references to any of the research studies mentioned in this video, check out the full episode transcript linked below in the description under resources. My weekly tips are also available to read on my website or to listen to on your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to connect with me more regularly and join the Parenting with Psychology community, follow Parenting with Psychology on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I love hearing from you, so please leave a comment below and let me know how you've been using these tips in your parenting practice, or about any topics you would like me to cover in future episodes. Finally, a quick legal disclaimer. Please note that the advice provided in this episode is different than therapy and does not serve as a substitute for professional psychological treatment or other types of professional advice or intervention. If you or your child have concerns or need further parenting or personal support, please contact a physician or other qualified local health professional. See you next week, amazing parents.